From translation, ISV International Standard Version. This 10th day of the year. Today we are reading passages Genesis 30 to 31. Genesis chapter 30, verses 1 to 43. Rachel, seeing that she had borne no children to Jacob, became jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I'll die." Jacob became angry with Rachel and said, "Am I in the place of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" She said, "Here is my maidservant Bilhah. Go in to her, and she will give birth on my knees, so that I too may have children through her." So she gave him her maidservant Bilhah as a wife, and Jacob went into her. Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, "God has vindicated me. He has indeed heard my voice and given me a son." Therefore she named him Dan. Rachel's maidservant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, "With mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister and have prevailed." So she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took her maidservant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's maidservant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "Good fortune has come," so she named him Gad. Leah's maidservant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, "How happy I am, for women will call me happy." So she named her son Asher. During the wheat harvest, Reuben went and found some mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Is it a small matter that you have taken my husband? Would you also take my son's mandrakes?" So Rachel said, "Therefore he may lie with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You are to come to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he lay with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said, "God has given me my wages because I gave my maidservant to my husband." So she named him Issachar. Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. Then Leah said, "God has endowed me with a good gift. Now my husband will live with me because I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun. Afterward she bore a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. So she conceived and bore a son and said, "God has taken away my disgrace." She named him Joseph, saying, "May the Lord add to me another son." When Rachel had borne Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away, so that I may go to my own place and to my own land. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you know the service that I have given you." But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your sight, I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you." He also said, "Name your wages, and I will give it." Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you and how your livestock has fared with me. For you had little before I came, and it has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I turned. But now, when shall I provide for my own household also?" He said, "What shall I give you?" Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything. If you will do this one thing for me, I will again pasture and keep your flock for you. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there every speckled and spotted sheep, every dark-colored sheep among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and such shall be my wages. So my honesty will answer for me later, when you come to check on my wages. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and dark among the sheep, if found with me, will be considered stolen." Laban said, "Good. Let it be as you have said." But that same day Laban removed the male goats that were streaked and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the dark ones among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set a distance of 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob pastured the rest of Laban's flocks. Then Jacob took fresh rods of poplar and almond and plane trees, and peeled white streaks in them, exposing the white of the rods. He set the rods that he had peeled in front of the flocks in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink. And when they came to drink, they mated in front of the rods. And the flocks mated by the rods, and the offspring were striped, speckled, and spotted. Jacob separated the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the striped and all the black in the flock of Laban, but he put his own flocks apart and did not put them with Laban's flock. And whenever the stronger of the flock were breeding, Jacob would lay the rods in front of the eyes of the flock in the troughs, so that they would breed among the rods, but when the flock was feeble, he did not lay them there. So the feeble ones were Laban's, and the strong ones were Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks, female servants and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Genesis chapter 31, verses 1 to 55. Now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, "Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has gained all this wealth." And Jacob saw that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field where his flock was, and said to them, I see that your father's attitude toward me has changed, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times, but God has not allowed him to harm me. If he said, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flock was speckled, and if he said, the striped shall be your wages, then all the flock was striped. Thus God has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. It happened at the time when the flocks conceived that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream that the goats that mated were striped, speckled, and spotted. Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob, and I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up your eyes and see, all the goats that mate are striped, speckled, and spotted, for I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now arise, get out of this land, and return to the land of your birth. Then Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Is there any portion or inheritance left to us in our father's house? Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us, and he has also consumed our money. All the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, do whatever God has said to you. So Jacob arose and put his children and his wives on camels. He drove away all his livestock, all his property that he had gained, the livestock in his possession that he had acquired in Paddan Aram, to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole the household gods that were her father's. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean, by not telling him that he intended to flee. So he fled with all that he had and arose and crossed the Euphrates, and set his face toward the hill country of Gilead. On the 3rd day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So he took his kinsman with him and pursued him for 7 days, and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream by night and said to him, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. And Laban caught up with Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his kinsmen camped in the hill country of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What have you done, that you have deceived me and have taken away my daughters like captives of the sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me, and did not tell me, so that I might have sent you away with mirth and songs, with tambourine and lyre? And you did not allow me to kiss my daughters and my grandchildren. Now you have done foolishly. It is in my power to do you harm, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now you have gone away because you longed for your father's house, but why did you steal my gods? Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I thought you would take your daughters from me by force. Anyone with whom you find your gods shall not live. Before our kinsmen, recognize what is yours with me and take it. For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the 2 maidservants, but did not find them. Then he went out of Leah's tent, and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods, and put them in the saddlebag of the camel, and sat on them. And Laban felt all around the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, Let not my lord be angry that I cannot rise before you, for the way of women is upon me. So he searched, but did not find the household gods. Then Jacob became angry and disputed with Laban. Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my transgression? What is my sin, that you have hotly pursued me? Although you have searched all my goods, what have you found of all your household goods? Set it here before my kinsmen and your kinsmen, that they may judge between us 2. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried, and I have not eaten the rams of your flocks. What was torn by beasts I did not bring to you, I bore the loss of it myself. You required it of my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was, by day the heat consumed me, and by night the frost and the dew. And my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac, had been with me, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked you last night. Then Laban answered and said to Jacob, The daughters are my daughters, the children are my children, the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day to these my daughters, or to their children whom they have borne? Now come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. And Jacob said to his kinsmen, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar-sahadutha, but Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and me today. Therefore it was called Galeed, and Mizpah, for he said, May the Lord watch between you and me, when we are out of one another's sight. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us, see, God is witness between you and me." Then Laban said to Jacob, "Here is this heap, and here is the pillar that I have set between you and me. This heap is a witness, and the pillar is a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to you, and you will not pass over this heap and this pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us." Then Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called his kinsmen to eat bread. And they ate bread and spent the night on the mountain. Early in the morning Laban arose and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned to his place.